recorded. Good morning. So welcome to your self-realization. Let's have an opening and gratitude.
Did I get that thing out?
Maybe not. Nope. There we go. All right. Gratitude. Mother, Father, God, we give gratitude and thank yous for this day. We ask for your infinite light of protection to be with us and through us, wherever we are, so that only the highest and best will occur through our thoughts, words, and actions. And through those thoughts, words, and actions will lead us to a better understanding of our own self. So when we meet those on our path, we have a better understanding of them. We give thanks for this day. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So welcome. And today's imagination. This is the best part. It's always the best part, right? But I mean, imagination, woo, it feels so good to feel that energy. It's kind of one of those, before I get really into this is a word that when we're really super young, it was great to be able to imagine those butterflies doing these different things, or angels flying around, and whatever it was, right? Whatever we were doing, we got to enjoy when we were out there in nature and be able to, manifest things through our imagination. And whether they were real to someone else, they were definitely real to us. And we created those things. And then, we got lots of things put into our subconscious mind that is a negative trait. And this is our empowerment of who we are. This is everything. This is the strength of everything that we are. And Karen's joining us. Give me a second. So really absorb, your 12 power of imagination as I talk about it a little bit, because this is a power that we really want to utilize consistently and be connected to be able to expand our everything. So good morning, Karen. Welcome. We're talking about imagination today. So it's part of our 12 powers. And I was just expressing how being really young, we're able to really be in that range of imagination, one of our 12 powers, where we're able to dive in and be happy in our imagination, because we're able to not only be in that energy of it, we're able to manifest through it. And later on in our life, somewhere along the lines, someone may have taught us that that's not necessarily a good thing. And so what we're doing here is to bring it back, because it is one of the most powerful things that we have within ourselves, is to utilize that. And so as we are in imagination, be the child. Be that child mind, and really feel that vibrant energy that imagination gives. Imagination is located between the eyes, the third eye, and it's near the pituitary gland. It is considered the daughter of God. It is the female aspect of our universe, our God, whatever it is that we call that. The image is a mental representation of anything not actually present in the physical senses. Mental pictures, ideas, concepts, impressions, reproduction of exact likeness are examples of imagination. It is the faculty of the mind that has the power to shape and form thought. That's why I was saying manifestation. We think something, we create it. It is one of the most powerful experiences in creation. ability to confront and deal with a problem and create solutions, and the ability to hold ideas and clothe them with substance. So imagination is connected directly to the soul. And when imaging the good, imagine eliminating the bad. This makes room for the good. Imagination projects images of ideas that are within, such as jealousy projects a complexion that is yellow. When one understands imagination, one does not project jealousy. One projects generosity and compassion. God created us in God's image and likeness. Those who lack understanding of this fundamental law of the mind are psychics without power. The fundamental law is that God is within and one has creative power for good and bad. There's never one without the other. And the material world is the manifestation of ideas. Understanding this allows one to know what is being created. And understanding imagination helps interpret those symbols that we have. Symbols are experiences that one can relate to. This helps in the interpretation of psychic messages. And society has pushed imagination aside, as I said. How many times that you've heard or said, yeah, it's just your imagination. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Every time that we think we are using our imagination, when you understand the mind power of imagination, you will choose to have thoughts that are positive and constructive. When you understand what you think, your creations have more power. Affirm daily, my imagination is real. Dreams use the imagination faculty, and dreams are literal and symbolic. Dreams tell us what's going on and what is in the past and what's going to happen. Interpreting dreams will assist in the understanding of oneself. All that one has passed through has left its image in the subconscious. So having a more creative imagination enriches one's dreams and goals and quickens their manifestation. This means that people, places, and things enhance the creativity of our imagination. This also tells us that the people, places, and things in our life are like-minded. So what thought processes do you have on imagination?
I think imagination is beautiful, and I feel very blessed that I grew up, like I mentioned, with an artist for a mother and a musician for a father. They always fostered imagination and creativity, which I think they pair well, both imagination and creativity. So I feel very blessed to always, I never lost that childlike wonderment. And when people say I see fairies, I don't bat an eye or say you're crazy or you're cuckoo. I go, that's very probable, you know?
Thank you, Casey. How about anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple of comments. My imagination was stifled when I was a kid because, I mean, I had a lot of experiences that I didn't know that other people weren't experiencing them. I didn't know that what I was seeing or hearing or feeling was not the same as what other people were seeing and hearing and feeling. And so I would just talk about it. I would just talk about what I saw, what I experienced. And they would just tell me, that was a dream. That was only your imagination. That was, and they tried to get me to live in the real world, don't live in this imaginary world. And so it stifled me and kind of frightened me for a lot of my life because I thought, wow, I mean, I'm experiencing this, but that's bad, and so it must be bad that I keep experiencing it. And so I tried to teach myself how to block all of those experiences. So for me, opening to my imagination was like one of the most powerful experiences, knowing that my imagination is real and what I experience is real was like mind opening for me. And then pairing it with, as we go through the mind powers, like last week we talked about understanding. So using imagination with understanding is really powerful as well. So yeah, I'm grateful that I at long last in my life I learned that that my imagination is a powerful thing and not a negative thing.
Yeah. Most of us can all kind of relate, I'm pretty sure. There's always a higher authority that gives us the idea that this imagination is, ridiculous. And very much, it's so, I mean, if I want to say if I had a different set of, higher authority beings, I think I would have been very much way more beyond, I would have probably been drawing on walls and everything, I would have been painting and doing all these things. I had a very, very much, everything was visual and through dreams and then into the, outside world that I wanted to express so much. My mother decided we better get her some sort of, painting device where we could, some sort of pad of paper or something. We need to get a mural or something so that she could draw it out. And she said to me, I think one day you're going to be a movie star, because I kept trying to write my name out everywhere. I was always, she said, can you just stop painting the wall? They were going crazy. But yeah, I got to a point too. Someone said something, and then it must have been a higher authority that, scared me into thinking that for some reason this imagination is just that. It's just your imagination. Why, yes, it is, yeah. Now I'm a child again.
I was also thinking that, like somebody like Bill Gates or somebody like that, those kind of people use their imagination to create amazing things that can change the trajectory of everything for everyone. Yep. And it has to start off with an idea. It has to start off with a thought.
Yep.
So yeah, there wouldn't be any kind of creation without imagination.
Yeah. And how David talks about the seed being planted, as we plant the seed. I mean, I love this part of that sort of, directing in nature, because we can all imagine what nature is like. And, we know what that seed is. If you said many times, remember, Marsha, about the watermelon or whichever, you knew what you were planting and you put it into the ground, you knew what that seed was going to turn up to be.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of times what we, like we plant one thing, we're doing it like unconsciously or something. We're planting things and we're expecting something else to happen. So it's like planting tomatoes and then expecting watermelon. You're not going to get watermelon if you were planting tomatoes. So a lot of times during the day, we're thinking things, using our imagination on things that we don't want.
Yep.
And expecting the things that we want.
Right.
I think they call it insanity.
Yeah. I mean, you notice like the patterns of the what we say, what comes out. So we planted the seed, we created it in our mind, it became an image, and then we said it, and then somewhere along the lines it gets reversed, which is what you're talking about, making or creating tomatoes instead of the watermelon that we created, right? And then we're changing it, and it's like no, go get back, we got to make that watermelon. And when we do it all the way through, utilizing what's around us too, I mean, making sure that we're not getting detoured to make that tomato instead of the watermelon. That's our goal. And really protecting thoughts, words, and actions, because people can change the way we think. People can change our ideas. And then what was our, goal in the first place? Is it theirs or is it ours? Is it the watermelon or is it the tomato?
There's driving in traffic, having cars get right on your bumper or something like that. It can make people say things that they wouldn't normally say. But what I started to do when people start getting on my bumper, I start saying inside of myself, I say, I have all the space I need. I have all the space I need. And I just keep saying it over. And it is amazing how people start backing off. I mean, I really saw that people started backing off, and making me more comfortable. I was more comfortable. So it's like you have a choice between shaking your fist and saying other kinds of words, or just saying something positive. I have all the space I need. I have all the space I need, and being calm and peaceful about it.
Yeah.
It's a completely different creation when you use your imagination in a wise way and an understanding way. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful.
There's a book I just recently started listening to. You can also buy it in a paperback version, by Gabrielle Bernstein. She's done a lot of great books like Judgment Detox. This one's called Super Attractor. And it goes into the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks, everything we already know, everything we're talking about. But one of the most beautiful things that I learned is when we manifest through our imagination, sometimes we don't always get the results we want. So when we manifest, say, this is what I want, or what is the better option for me? Leave that open to the universe. Maybe those tomatoes are needed instead of that apple you're manifesting. So by putting that into play, you're letting the universe really send you what you truly need. You ever have some experience, you're like, why did this happen to me? And then 2 weeks later, you understand, it all clicks and everything works out. You lose a job, but you get a better job, So I thought that was quite cool.
Or that goal is so beyond that you're not allowing the baby steps in between, right? Like get the tomato in there to get to the watermelon. Maybe the tomato is important,
Another thing that really hits me, and it's taken a whole lot of imagination to really come up with this. When you think about that seed being planted and the process that it has to go through, well, you don't plant all of your seeds at one time. Throughout your life, you're planting and harvesting and planting and harvesting. So today you can be planting the most wonderful, powerful, beautiful seeds, but then you might end up reaping the harvest of something that you planted like in another lifetime, or a year ago, or 6 months ago, or whatever. we're not going to be reaping everything in the exact like the way that we plant it today. So we're planting today what we want to reap for our future. So it's like it doesn't matter what other things happen if something that we don't want is happening. If we continue to plant for the future, then that's what we're creating.
I love that. I think going into that, planting those seeds, like you said, past life, how many years ago, weeks ago, days ago, if we just allow the universe, it'll know which seed to blossom for us and when we need it. It may not be in a linear order. It will just manifest as we need it. And the love in the universe and God knows which seed to blossom at the time you need it in your life.
And removing that don't want, because allowing your process to be, going through something rather than, wait, it's not that. I want that. Wait, what's going on? Breathe. Let's get through the process because I see that watermelon over there, way over there. They're right at the end of the tunnel,
Well, when that tomato does appear, know that you planted it, and you can utilize it.
Yeah, and like you said, Reverend Marcia, it could have been from the past life. That tomato showing up for some reason or another. We all know that everything is a lesson. Everything's an experience. Everything, everyone.
And so, how many times use the intuition to take the place of what we planted? Because you plant it through intuition. You have planted it
with our imagination.
Mm-hmm. And most of us don't really know what we agreed to on the other side to do while we're here. So
repeat that. I'm sorry.
Most of us do not know what I've got maybe I need to turn this up a little bit. Is that better?
It's about this. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna turn it back down because everybody's too loud. Most of us do not understand or know what we agreed to on the other side that we were going to accomplish while we were here. And if we're not getting what we think we want, it may be because we're not asking for what we, as Casey said, what we need to accomplish the goal that we're here to do. So I remember when I first started my psychic journey, and I was 35 years old when I did that. Probably the first 10 years, I would say, is this my imagination or is this real? And then gradually I began to realize that it's all real.
It's the same.
It's just different kind of real. And when I teach Reiki classes, one of the first things, the first night I say is, this is a class about imagination. So please bring your imagination out and let you use it. Because new people, and lots of times Reiki is their introduction to their psychic self. New people do not, sometimes it's because of what you guys are talking about in that you were put down as young ones, but a lot of times people just don't even realize they have it. I think more often I see the people in my classes anyway, I see the people in my practice also that are just not even aware.
Yep. Our entire, what we live in, the society that we live in is taught that we're, not empowered beings. And when we're sedated that way, it creates us to not know what our powerful self is. And to get back to that, it doesn't, could be at any age. Could be young or could be old, but when we finally allow ourselves to not question the experience anymore, and like I was saying, go through the energy, go through the process, go through we find just more doors and more doors open and more things create. And you're like, wow, wow, wow. And I'm still wowing.
And another thing, when like a tomato does appear, it went through the same process as the watermelon did.
Different shape. Well, no, it's not different shape. Just
different type. Process.
Yeah.
Same process, but kind of like the same church, but a different pew.
Yeah. It is a fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a fruit. It's in the same deduction. No, let's see. Yeah. 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 Still in the same.
Well, it's like, you can think about fear and think about fear and think about fear. And then all of a sudden you decide, okay, I'm going to start thinking about peace. Well, somewhere along the line, that fear is going to pop up because you created it and nurtured it, even though today you might be focusing on peace. So it's, we have so many, well, there was a friend of mine one time that said, well, how long are you going to keep doing all this positive stuff? What if it doesn't work? And I said, well, I'm going to keep doing it forever, because what's my alternative? I'd rather focus on positive stuff and peace. But I mean, that's, to my friend, it was like, that is so odd. That is just, not the way that person lives. And it's very foreign. So, it might sound like it's just a really simple thing, create peace every day. That might seem like a really strange thing to some people, but it's super powerful.
Oh, you're making me think. There's this situation that was said for this hypnotherapy thing that I'm in, and they said, so they had a grant, a $3 million grant, to do a study of the school, of all the different types of hypnotherapy sessions they're doing. And why did I mention this? I just had a blank. We just went, bye. Where are you? Bring it back. Tell me again what you were just saying, Marcia.
Well, I was just talking about the process of creating fear is the same process as creating peace.
Okay.
It's just what you decide, what you decide in your imagination, what you're going to create at this moment is what you're creating for your future.
Well, and she also said that if you've been creating fear for a long time and now you change to peace, you've still got that fear piece to fulfill.
Yeah, so
exactly.
I don't want to forget.
The realization is what you just expressed. When something appears that you think you didn't do it, it tells you that you did think it. And the realization that you are creating, that you really don't have any logic for what you're creating, but you are creating it. And that is a powerful understanding to have.
So the study is that in our subconscious mind, everything that was put in there, let's do a minus for the fear, and then a plus for the, what did you say? Joy or
peace.
So it's evened out, right? And then the more subconsciously that's put in there positively by, say, affirmations, et cetera, then it eventually replaces those negatives to the more positive, right? And so we become positive beliefs, positive emotions, all these other things. And so they did a study, and it truly does the work. So they've added affirmations and some homework into when someone does hypnotherapy, because it actually works. Well, I was describing this to my partner's son, and he's a naturopath, and he's medically, he's like kind of in the logical, listening to me talk about these things. And he's like, an affirmation isn't going to work for that. And he's going on about affirmations because he's, very logically, he's sorting how someone's unhealthy or whatever and how he can help them through herbs or whatever. And so I just kind of giggled it off because I'm like, okay, that was a negative in my subconscious. I'm going to go for a positive in my, I'm like, okay, there was a negative thought process pattern that just flew in there. I'm like, so I think about these things, like that's a person, that's a people, that's one of the people. I'm like, shh. All right, replace that.
So have they finished that study yet?
Yeah. Yes, they have.
And is it true that if you put enough positives, each positive takes off a negative?
Yes. So like we were saying, this whole thing about the people, places, things, they actually describe exactly the same verbiage. The people in your life, the places that you go to, and the things that you're around, you're energetically absorbing that information. And that is you in your subconscious. And so they're, through memory, belief patterns, higher authority, all the above. And so it just gets, that's your memory bank.
And so the realization of what we're saying here is that you did create this through imagination. And once you do it, so how did this happen? You know how it happened because you did it through the imagination. That's a realization. That what do we call this class?
Self-realization.
I love it.
In a different way, I guess what I mean through the teachings of like Buddha and such is to like clear karma through meditation. So bad karma that you might have created through past lives and such, by just meditating, in silent meditation, if you can, it can literally clear out karma that you've done in the past. So this thought of I'm going to read back something negative isn't necessarily always true. It's like, I had a negative thought that kept fostering. We can rewrite that story and never have that negative experience ever again in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's comforting. That's what I was really asking Angie. And so you answered my question.
You got it.
Yeah.
You are realizing.
He's the other part of me.
We're all one. We are one.
And you.
Well, coming at it from two different ways. I mean, my question to you was about the study, and his is about ancient spiritual practices. So I guess it probably in some of me believes it more.
Well, how many people are in this class today?
6.
And 6 ways it's coming in.
And all 6 ways are all just
okay.
like that. There's never a wrong. Never a wrong.
But we hear different things from different people, so that's the good thing. We haven't heard anything from Karen today.
If we were all to write down, what we just heard, imagine.
It would be 60 different things.
All right.
All right, so I'll pipe in then. I guess this whole thing takes me back to reading Creative Visualization with Shakti Guan years ago. And I guess personally, I'm still kind of working with this idea of the subconscious and what I put out in terms of my thoughts, imagination, and the fact that I'm so much Gemini that I sometimes have so many ideas and so many creative projects. And there's that part where I've been studying like for how much persistence and how much discipline I have to stick with one thing instead of jumping all over the place to like manifest, the whole idea of magnetizing what you bring to you and manifestation. If I'm not sticking with my creative projects I love and I get up and get a cup of tea or I need to email, like there's a part there where the universe is getting staccato in my head and isn't seeing me follow through. So there's a part of me kind of analyzing that myself lately going, okay, well, that's a part of how I'm manifesting or not in the world. And I still believe you know, totally, I've done that Oren Dobbin magnetizing exercise for years, and I've had these amazing experiences. But I also see how, like, my own self-responsibility about this Gemini part can kind of off track me to opportunity for the universe to say, oh, she's really serious about this time. Or that's what she really does want, or what she thinks will be joyful or fulfilling for her. And balancing that with you know, this or something better is going to come to you. You know, the whole idea of surrender and letting go and just allowing. So yeah, it's a fun conversation. I'm really enjoying it, and it takes me back to if I was a young child, what did I love to do, right? You know, like those times of bliss.
Yeah.
That's true imagination for me. And that you know, again, what Casey said, I'm just so grateful that I had spaces for my mother and my parents that were that created that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a really fun conversation. I'm enjoying it.
Imagination is fun. Yes. Yes. Okay. So what we'll do here, thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful for everyone. So what we'll do, like Reverend Marshall was talking about, is when you're combining your understanding and your imagination together, as we progress into the 12 powers, we're going to be doing that. We'll combine, put them together, imagining, having those together. And what does it look like? Colors come into fruition, or a particular, I want to say, why in my mind, I want to say model, an image. There'll be an image, there'll be something there. And so it's something to document in your journal, because what does that have to do with imagination? Yeah, so as I've done these many times, I end up with different things every time. My colors, my images change, and I usually meditate on them too, or search and find out what that is. What am I feeling into those colors, and what entity describes that color? You know, what are they sharing with us? Yeah, so we'll do that when we're in our meditation here for our self-realization. So we'll get nice and comfortable and get ready for that. All right. So let us concentrate on our breath. As this breath moves through the nostrils, it relaxes each muscle, nerve, and vessel in our being. This breath is what sustains you. It is the breath of life. Feel the relaxation that this breath brings to your being. As this relaxation moves gently in and around each part of your being, it turns into something very beautiful called love. You recognize this love as being alive and active with each breath. Just relax and recognize. As you exhale, you release physical toxins and negative attitudes you have towards yourself and all people concerned. Relax, recognize, and release. As you're releasing the toxins and attitudes, they are being dispersed into the I am. Gently allow this breath to settle into the feet area. This is the understanding part of our being. And as you understand yourself clearly, then you understand the world that you move in. Just relax and recognize and release. Feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leave as this breath moves to the ankles and up the legs. Feeling all agitations and irritations being dissolved. Relax, recognize, and release. As this breath moves to the hip area, relax and release that which does not belong to you. The hip represents independent movement. You are now free to move in life and free to be you. Very gently, allow the strength to move to the base of the spine and the small of the back. Allow the breath to stay here for a few moments. This breath becomes stronger and stronger, for this is a strength area. Strength is confidence, security, and firmness. Now allow the breath to move up the spine. As this breath touches all vertebrae, muscles, and nerves, you feel enlightened, giving up the burdens that do not belong to you and taking care of what does belong to you. As this breath moves up the spine, you feel confident, secure, and firm. Relax, recognize, and release that which does not belong to you. As this breath touches the shoulders, feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leaving. The shoulders represent responsibility in life. Know with each breath that you are doing your responsibilities in life with freedom and ease. You also allow all other people to do their responsibilities with the same freedom and ease. Allowing this breath now to move down the arms, relaxing, recognizing, and releasing, reaching the hands. The hands are the giving and receiving part of our being. We give to receive and receive to give. As this breath is in the hands area, feel the breath that is between your hands and how good this breath feels. This goodness is you, and you are extremely good. Take this goodness that is you and place it in the lower abdomen area. The greatest gift of all lies here, life. You are full of life, and life is full of you. Life is happiness, health, and wealth. You eliminate all that hinders you from life, and you put order into your life. Order is the adjusting of all mind powers, moving in harmonious manner for life. Very gently now, allow this breath to move to the stomach area. The stomach is the judgment area, and let us fully and freely release all mistakes in judgment that we have made that have led to mistake in action. Replace with correct judgments that lead to correct action. Relax, recognize, and release. Feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leaving, allowing this breath to move to the heart area. The heart is the love area of our being. With each beat of the heart, love moves to each part of our body. We radiate this love, and wherever we go, this radiance is felt, and the universe gives back to you that radiance. Relaxing, recognizing, and releasing that which does not belong to you. Very gently allowing this breath to move to the throat area. The throat is the power area in life. You are in command of your life, and you are at ease with that command. Relax, recognize, and release that which does not belong to you. Very gently allowing this breath to move to the back of the head, to the very crown of your head, and from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head, you are relaxing, recognizing, and releasing. As you're in this relaxed state, think, feel, or see yourself walking down a path. You feel the path beneath your feet. You notice the green grass that lines this path. You notice the sun twinkling through the trees that also line this path. As you walk down the path, there's a gentle breeze that touches your body. This is the breath of life. It allows you to take the next step in knowing yourself. As you walk down the path, there's a clearing in front of you, and as you walk into the clearing, the softness of the grass touches your feet. Knowing that you are very protected, you walk into the clearing. There is a body of water that is crystal clear and warm to your touch. There are paths that lead away from the clearing, and as you walk into the body of water, if you choose to go into the water, submerging completely in the water, breathing freely and all organs functioning properly, know that you are very protected. If you choose to lay beside the water, absorbing the 4 elements, the sun, water, air, and earth, or you may choose to explore the paths, feel free to do so and enjoy. remembering all that you have seen, sensed, felt, or heard, and feeling very refreshed, alert, and keen. You notice your healing clarity from your healing circle, and you notice that every one of us surround that healing circle, and you notice that your healing breath starts to expand and touch each and every one, and we become one healing breath. One healing breath. We direct this healing breath to the healing box, and with all the souls making and have made transition, all the institutes of health that state that peace is the journey and destination, all those affected by the winds and the rain, the snows and the movement of the earth and the fires, that they are all protected and healed. As you're aware of your healing presence, and as you move towards your path, you notice anything changed, moved, or taken away. And when you're on your path, your mental and physical consciousness becomes aware, remembering all that you have seen, felt, and heard, and feeling very refreshed, alert, and keen. And when your mental and physical consciousness is fully aware, open your eyes. All right. All right. Share time. What all did you get? Anyone can start. Go ahead, Lady J. I think
muted.
Yeah, I think everybody's muted.
Well, I wanted to go back to into a forest, which I did, and here was a herd of deer, and one of them looked up at me and started to turn, and then there was a noise from another one, and then everybody just settled down and kept on eating, and it was like I wasn't even there. I mean, they didn't acknowledge me anymore ever. And I asked if they had any message for me, and I've got a message that you are loved, be loved, and lover, which is it's in a poem that I use. And I'm to remember that that applies to me every time I use it for somebody else. And then I just kind of dozed, and there was numbers, and I was just a jarbled from there on. I remember it, but there doesn't, at this point, my imagination hasn't told me what the symbols are about. I guess is the way to put it, because that's when it all started coming, when I thought, well, the subject is imagination, and then all of this other stuff. Anyway, it was really wonderful. Thank you.
Very good. Pay attention to your dreams too. They may show up there. All right, Casey.
So, excuse me. I started to play in the field. I started looking at the blades of grass and noticing all the little ants and the insects. And I noticed I was 6 years old at this time. And I started flying a kite like I used to do when I was young. And the kite in my imagination turned into a dragon in the sky. And I was just having the best time, like my little 6-year-old self, just playing and doing somersaults and imagining, and then I saw the crystal water and thought, oh, maybe there's a Loch Ness monster in there that's, hiding, that little part of me that's a little boy, right? And rough and tumble. And then I saw another little boy in the distance, so I called him over, and it was my brother. And at this point, he's 4 years old because we're about 2 and something years apart. And we start playing like we did when we were younger. And I gave him the biggest hug. And I said, I love you, and I'm here for you, and I'm meant to be here for you. And I just started crying. He's going through a lot. He's a major alcoholic, blackout kind of stuff. And I started crying physically here now while I was hugging him in that space. And I realized I need to reach out to him and just show him love. Not cure him, just care for him. Yeah, that's what I love.
Love. Love's the cure. Thank you. Right, Karen, how did you do?
Yeah, I sat by the water and just allowing the stillness and coming back to that sense that, being and allowing and receiving that things will come to you, that knowing that, but seeking that deeper, and watching the fish and then having memories as I'm walking on the path of deer and owls and animals, and just feeling that, yeah, animals often have messages and they've always been there for me, and it brought me full circle back to imagination. And I joke that my mother's a fairy mother, that she gave me part fairy. So that came back, and just trusting that. And when in terms of magnetizing, trusting that animal energy in my dreams and in life, to help guide me and see that. And then this whole idea of wanting to visualize more, and if I'm looking at whether I belong somewhere or not, or a different place to be, trying to go into a place and sit down and say, do I belong here or not? And then asking that visual part of me that can try something on in my mind, imagination, visually, other than auditorily, which would normally be, like asking that be open to that. Okay.
Very nice. Yes. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Reverend Marcia, how did you do?
Oh, it was pretty interesting because I found myself as a contestant on a game show.
All right.
And yeah, and what was interesting was that, I could see all of these other people that were on the game show, and they were all like jumping up and down and yelling and waving their arms around and trying to come up with the answers and stuff. And I was just like very peaceful, and all of my answers were coming to me in the piece. And so it was a really nice reminder of let everybody else do their thing, and I'm doing my thing, and we all figure it out in our own ways. And so yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for that visual. It's making me think of things. Thank you. Reverend David, how did you do?
Okay. A realization is that when things happen that I think I had nothing to do with them, I did have something to do with them. And so I'm aware of that, and I'm acting it in my life now.
Mm-hmm.
That's my realization today.
And you are my people, my places, and my things. So thank you for my realization with all of you. Thank you, David. Yeah. All right. So next week, dun, 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 we're going to do will. Our will. All right. Well, we'll do our closing words if anyone doesn't have anything else to say. Yeah. Okay. And we'll see you next week. Let's do that gratitude. Mother, Father, God, we give gratitude and thank yous for this day. We ask for your infinite light of protection to be with us and through us as we go on our path. So when we meet those on our passage, we share that love to everyone and everything. And we give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much love to you all.
To you too. Thank you.
Bye.